I haven't done a video like this on a chapter of Eden Zero for like, I don't even know, almost 4-5 weeks, bro, almost a month, a little bit over, but I'm back at it like I never left with the chapter of Eden Zero, chapter 129, so we can smile brighter. It's a chapter that's mostly exposition with a few setups, a few interesting setups that we'll get into a little bit later, because for right now, we gotta start at the beginning of the chapter, so let's go. So this one starts out with each group being back on their own respective ships. Elsie and her crew are back on their ship, and Shiki and his crew are back on the Eden Zero. And you got Elsie and her crew calling up Shiki in the Eden Zero, and they're just talking and conversating, being like, yeah, we made it out of there, it was crazy. Everybody's recovering from their battle, Elsie's all bandaged up, and speaking of Elsie in bandages, if I hadn't seen this picture of Elsie or any picture of her with bandages on, and you would put her next to Erza with the classic bandages that she would always wear when she got hurt, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Like in Elsie's regular gear, you can obviously tell the difference because she's got the eye patch going and she's got the pirate armor, but in this, bro, ain't no way. But anyways, back to the chapter. So the crews are still conversating, and then Rebecca jumps in and she says that she can't believe that anyone could give Elsie such a hard time. Shiki follows up the statement by saying through gritted teeth that he was ridiculously strong. I can't wait till he and Justice have another battle, a round 2, after Shiki gets some training in, bro. I want to see that. I don't know who Hiro Mashima would have win in that instance. I think maybe if they have a round 2, Shiki would be the one to win, but who knows? We won't until we actually see it. But yeah, after Shiki says what he says, Elsie goes on to basically explain how the Erationsace Interstellar, the group that Justice is a part of, rivals the group that she's in, the Erationsace Galactica, and that's why they clash and they're around the same level of strength. It's because the groups clash and they're around the same level of strength. So it all makes sense. And Shiki's just in awe like, awesome. Don't worry, bro, you'll get there one day, probably. The call between the two crews then ends with Elsie telling them that she is sorry that she got them wrapped up with Justice and to be safe out there. They'll meet again, but in the meantime, they're gonna go hunt down Ziggy. After that, we see Laguna in the background sweating a bit, and he says, so you guys know Elsie, huh? Now I see why you would pick a fight with Drake and Joe. Weiss comes in and corrects him though by saying that Elsie had nothing to do with the whole Draken situation. That was the Eden Zero crew's fight. Laguna acknowledges this point. If Elsie was involved, then they could have easily teamed up with her against Drake and Joe, and that would have been that. But that's not how it went down. Laguna then says that he doesn't get anybody here and he just walks away. But while he's walking away, he says something to himself that is extremely interesting. He says, until I accomplish my goal, I'll just keep playing my part, the part of a man who has no goal. Now this right here immediately makes me think that the deal that he struck with Witch is just complete and total nonsense. It's a lie. Cause like, why would you look so nefarious and so serious if your end goal was just to get a dude and settle down? Like, nah, that's not it. But if that's not the case, then what is his actual end goal? Now, what I'm thinking is that his goal has something to do with good old DJ, because he's been referencing him a lot. Well, not really a lot, but it's enough that it's noticeable, in my opinion. But my line of thought is going like this. I think that he's gonna stick around with the Eden Zero crew until they get to Mother, where he will proceed to use a wish to restore Drake and Joe. Maybe even make him immortal. But I don't know, his end goal could have absolutely nothing to do with Drake and Joe. Maybe he's just after the wish for some other reason. Maybe he's not even after the wish. We don't know, but we'll find out in the future. Anyways, next up in the chapter we got eating. But after that we got a nice moment between Aruna and Witch. But before we talk about this nice moment, I really quickly just want to say, what y'all finna do with this child? You can't keep her here. The ship gets attacked like every other week. Is you gonna look after the child and defend the ship? Like, come on, bro. But on the other hand, I doubt she would want to go back to Foresta. There's a lot of pain there. Also, she's been with them for a couple chapters now. We know her name and we have her backstory. So she's gotta have some significance. But I don't know, bro. On to this nice moment where Witch does her thing. The thing that she is best at. No, it's not being best girl in Eden Zero. No, it's not being a supreme badass. It's being empathetic. which, without a shadow of a doubt, is the most empathetic character in Eden Zero. That is what she is best at, expressing empathy. And she does it expertly here with Aruna, with the Valkyrie callback because they're relating on the fact that they both lost someone close to them. But then you got Witch saying that it's basically okay to cry, but after some time you gotta let the tears dry up because you gonna make your friends that have passed on sad that are up in heaven looking down. So cry and let it all out now. And when you're done, have a massive smile on your face so that your friends up in heaven will be able to see those smiles and be happy. Because true friends wish for each other's happiness no matter how far away they may be. Fire. Fire. But anyways, after that, the chapter goes to a meeting room where part of the Eden Zero crew was in there looking at Xenolith. And they're talking about him, and Hermit, for whatever reason, seems adamantly against this robot actually being Xenolith. She's like, there's no way he's a man of legend, this thing is just using his name. It's like, yo, chill out. And she's pressing Shiki over why he brought him on the Eden Zero too. Like, the dude shut down after doing an insane gravity Magimech technique. What was he supposed to do? Not believe that he was Xenolith and leave him on Foresta? You trippin'. But while the crew is talking, Zeno then says download complete, and he springs up full of energy. He then goes on to explain that the reason why he shut himself down was because he was at risk of being infected by the virus. So he temporarily transferred all of his personality data onto a cloud storage and shut himself off. Hermit again questions if this is really Zeno, and he replies by saying, didn't Shiki tell you who I was? Already? He then turns his attention towards Shiki and says that he made contact with him because he has something important for the apprentice of Ziggy to do. And it's something only Shiki can do. Now listen, I got no clue where this is actually going, but I do know where I want it to go. And that is towards a training arc. Hopefully, the thing that Shiki can only do is become the successor to Zeno. Getting back to the chapter though, we then get some excellent character development from Weiss. I'm not even going to try and explain what happens here, I'm just going to read. I ran into a whack job scientist in the server. He told me about you two. No, Muller was there? Is that why Kleene? Well, you've both had your share of grief. That is none of your business. Where's Muller? I'll deal with him myself. We blew him to bits. So, I know I've been kind of hard on you guys, but I guess you've been through a lot. What an amazing conversation! And as mentioned prior, the character development! Anyhow, after the convo, Sister exits the medical room that the two of them are sitting outside of, and Jinn immediately stands up and asks about his sister, and Ivory tells him to go see for himself. Jinn rushes into the room and finds his sister sitting upright in bed, and she says, I was sick for a very long time. My heart was in darkness. I couldn't show my emotions very well, but now the sun is out in my heart. It feels nice, like a gentle breeze. While that's going on, Sister Ivory talks about what she did to Kleene, about how she erased part of her memories, the ones about being held captive by Muller, and of being rescued by Draken's bill collectors. Man, I'm a little bit upset that we didn't see that, because them meeting Draken is something that I really wanted to see. But back to the chapter, and on to probably the best moment of said chapter, because you got Kleene talking about how Jinn kept his promise. He promised that he would take her to Sister and get her healed, and that's what happened. And Jinn looks at his sister with tears rolling down his face and says, I'm so glad you pulled through. But anyways, with all that said, that is going to do it for this video, so thank you all very much for watching. I hope that you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody!